If you're new to learning Arabic, then you most likely have this question in mind. Do I learn the standard Arabic, or should I learn a specific dialect like the Egyptian, Syrian, Lebanese, Iraqi, and so on? And I've had people sending me DMs on Instagram asking the same repeated question. And that's why I'm making this video, to answer your question. What is MSA? What is Fusha? And what is the difference between the dialects and the MSA, or the standard Arabic? Today you will learn about all that. And let's start right away. My name is Abdurrahman, you can call me Abdu. I would like to start this video by saying that I'm Egyptian. So in this channel, I'll be posting MSA lessons as well as Egyptian dialect lesson. This video is two parts. Part one is basically browsing through different options of the Arabic language. Part two is basically me telling you which language or dialect you should start learning based on what you need. Let's browse all the options that you're having when you decide to start learning Arabic. Let's go back in time like 2,000 years ago. Arab people were speaking a language that is called Lisan al-Arab. The direct translation for it is basically Arab tongue. But for the sake of this video, we'll call it Ancient Standard Arabic. So this is the beginning of Arabic. Kind of like the Shakespeare with English. Sophisticated, very complicated, having very big and advanced vocabulary. And this is the language of Quran. Now we're calling it Ancient Standard Arabic. Now, in the news and informal communication between Arabs, we use a simplified version of the Ancient Standard Arabic, which is called Modern Standard Arabic. So what is the difference between Ancient Standard Arabic and Modern Standard Arabic? It's the same difference between Shakespeare language and the formal language in English right now. Shakespeare language is very old, very advanced and literary. So people decided to make it easier for themselves to leave all the complicated vocabulary and use simpler ones. It's still proper, still standard, still formal, but without the complicated stuff. So now we have two versions of the language. The Ancient Standard Arabic, which is the language of Quran, and the Modern Standard Arabic, which is the language of Arabs now, but Arabs only use this language in formal situations like the news, like formal communication among each other, formal letters, and so on. All the Arabs would understand someone who's speaking Modern Standard Arabic, but a small percentage of them would fully understand the Ancient Standard Arabic. So going forward in time, Arab people lived in different countries, in different tribes. So each tribe developed its own dialect. Yeah, it's coming from the Modern Standard Arabic, like the Modern Standard Arabic is coming basically from the Ancient Standard Arabic, obviously, but there are differences between each dialect. Like me, an Egyptian, would speak a little bit different from a Syrian, a little bit different from a Lebanese, from an Iraqi, from a Moroccan, from an Algerian, and so on. So let's talk about the dialects right now. I'll talk first about the Egyptian dialect since it's my language. I have been blessed to be Egyptian because Egypt is kind of like Hollywood of the Middle East. Everybody in the Middle East watching Egyptian movies, Egyptian TV, listen to Egyptian songs, and so on. So most of the Arab people would understand me as an Egyptian. But would I understand them? It depends. I would say that I understand Syrian and Lebanese people maybe 70 to 90%. Moroccan people, Algerian people maybe 50 to 80%. Iraqi people maybe 50 to 60%. But I can always tell them to slow down so that I understand a little bit more. So now comes the part where I tell you which language or dialect you should choose. First of all, let me tell you that there's one thing that is common between all the dialects and all the language that Arabs use. The only one thing that is common is the alphabet. The alphabet. Whatever Arabic language that you're going to learn, you need to learn the alphabet. This will make your life much easier. So your first step is the alphabet. There's no question about it. Some people advise you to skip the alphabet and learn it as you go and stuff. That's fine, but if you skip the alphabet, there's always going to be a word in the middle that you will not know how to pronounce or how to spell, even if you're advanced. But if you start by learning the alphabet, this will make the process a lot faster, a lot easier. Now let me ask you, and I need you to answer me in the comments. Why are you learning Arabic? Some people learn Arabic because they love it. Some people learn Arabic because they want to be a better Muslim. Some people want to learn Arabic because they have family in a specific country, and some people they want to learn Arabic because they have a job in an Arab country. I want you to tell me exactly why you're learning Arabic in the comment. Now I'll give you a broad plan of which language or which dialect you should learn based on what you want to do with Arabic. First of all, if you would like to learn Arabic because you want to be a Muslim, then skip all the dialect. You have nothing to do with any dialect. Go straight to the MSA, Modern Standard Arabic. And as you go, you will learn more vocabulary, more Quran vocabulary, or more ancient vocabulary. Just like if you're learning English or whatever, first you learn the basics, and then you learn the simple vocabulary, and then if you're advanced, then you go to the Shakespeare and you go to the literature and the old stuff. Moving on to someone who would like to learn Arabic because he wants to travel to a specific one country. I think this is pretty obvious. You need to ditch the MSA, ditch any other dialect. Just go straight forward to learning your specific dialect. For example, if you're going to Lebanon, then don't search learn Arabic, search learn Lebanese Arabic. If you're going to Syria, then search learn Syrian Arabic. And if you'd like to master it, then learn the alphabet first, then learn the specific dialect of the country that you're going to. So what if you go into more than one country? Like what if you're like having a tour on like some Arab countries, like 3, 2, 4, whatever. In this case, you need to learn the one dialect that will enable you to understand the highest percentages of all these countries. For example, Palestinian, Jordanian, Syrian, Lebanese. These 4 dialects are very similar. If you're lucky to go to these countries, then you learn Syrian, for example, and you're all set. You'll understand all these 4 dialects. If you learn Lebanese, you'll understand Syrian, you'll understand Lebanese, you'll understand Jordanian, and so on. Second tip, if you're going to more than one country and one of them is Egypt, then learn the Egyptian dialect because they will understand you in any country that you're going to. Everybody in the Middle East understands the Egyptian dialect. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments, and do not forget to subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell button because I'm posting lessons in MSA and Egyptian dialect. Until I see you in the next video, Assalamu alaikum.